Hi, this is Lee Goldberg, and you're listening to TV Confidential with Ed Robertson.
Ed Robertson with a reminder that Kathleen Bradley will join us later on this hour. We hope you stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we'll begin our second hour by bringing you more of our conversation with Morgan White Jr. Morgan White Jr., longtime radio personality for WBZ AM-FM in Boston, and a man who has entertained people with his live improv trivia show, both in Boston and in venues all over the country for more than 45 years. You can follow Morgan White Jr. on Twitter as well as morganwhitejr.com. Program note, you will hear some ambient noise in the background of our conversation with Morgan. We did our best to fix that in post-production and apologize for any inconvenience. Okay, I didn't know this about you. You started in late night radio, 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
And your show, you start 9 to midnight, but sometimes you do overnight. Sometimes you do up until 2 or 3 in the morning.
I used to.
My question is, late night radio, midnight.
I have worked on major stations, midnight to 5.
Okay.
And the Red Sox station extended me from midnight to 5 to midnight to 7 a.m.
Okay.
Because they thought I could handle that. And I did.
Okay. Well, when you've had me as a guest on your show, sometimes I've been on like midnight to 1 your time. And late night listeners, it's a different it's a different breed.
Completely.
I mean, sometimes they'll call in because it relates to the topic you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they call in because they want to talk to somebody at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And you're there.
I've become a friend.
You have. And I've done enough of your shows to know that you're very good. I mean, you could talk to any audience, but you seem to have a connection with the late night listener.
I do. And that's because I've done it for so long. A lot of them know me. And I'm a hand-me-down because they let friends know and other family members know. So, I used to have Matt Damon and Ben Affleck as listeners.
Uh-huh. Have either of them called in?
No. But I'll tell you a story. This was 2 weeks ago. I had a friend of mine on because I know he knows his music.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about the subject of blue-eyed soul. Phones went crazy. And we got a call like with 20 minutes left of being in the air. Morgan, you may not know me. I'm James Montgomery. I've been listening to you for years, and this is like the time I come home. I said, James Montgomery, the James Montgomery Blues Band? He said, yep, that's me. And the guy I was doing the show with, his jaw dropped. It's radio,
Wow.
but I could tell.
Yeah.
I get situations like that periodically. That's the tip of the hat.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing my show for 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
I do it pre-recorded, which I prefer. My first couple of years, I did it live. And live radio, as you well know, is
dangerous.
It's dangerous. You talk about working without a net.
Yeah.
But it also comes with the opportunity for surprises like a call from James Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
And the closest story I have to that was, this is my first or second year doing the show. And the marquee guest was Lee Majors.
All right.
And I remember that show very well because I don't always do this, but I knew someone who had talked to Lee before, and I said, okay, what are there any things to look for or not to look for? And he helped me, he walked me through that. And it turns out it was a great interview because we talked about everything but $6 Million Man.
Owen Marshall.
We talked a little Owen Marshall, but when I asked him about the Big Valley, he opened up because Barbara Stanwyck, he learned a lot about the business from working with Barbara Stanwyck. But anyway, long story short, about 10 minutes into the interview, I got a call, and I don't know how he knew, but it was an actor named Charles Briles. Now, the name Charles Briles may not mean anything to most people, but he was a working actor throughout the 60s and 70s, and in the annals of the Big Valley, he played the fourth Barkley brother. The brother who went the way of Chuck from Happy Days and disappeared after the first year. Somehow Charles Briles knew Lee was on my program. He called in, and it was the first time he'd spoken to Lee in 25 years. That can only happen, as you well know, because of live radio.
I will give you the ultimate Big Valley question. Who was their butler and who played him?
If I were doing your live show, I'd be out.
I got that.
But you're going to tell me the answer to that question.
He was in almost every episode. If it was just a walk-on or if he was involved with the plot. Silas is the name of the butler.
Okay.
And an old actor, Napoleon Whiting,
Okay.
played Silas. I always wanted to get him, but he passed away before I could make that connection.
Without giving away any tricks of the trade, are there certain things you draw on when you do a live show? Or is it...
Give me an example.
No, it's just, things to help you recall one thing or another, based on, okay, let's say the crowd is more sports oriented.
Absolutely no problem. But I'll give you an example that's much more pinpoint. There's a commercial on with Courtney Cox and Lisa Kudrow.
Okay.
It's recent. And it's for a handheld video game.
Okay.
I repeat to myself, Robert Klein, Robert Klein, Robert Klein, because the initials
Or okay.
are K. Royal Kingdom is the name of the maker of the video game.
Okay.
So when I use that question in clubs, I never have to worry about remembering the answer. And I do that sometimes.
Listening to a conversation recorded a few weeks ago in Las Vegas with my friend Morgan White Jr. Morgan White Jr., longtime radio personality for WBZ AM-FM in Boston and the undisputed king of trivia. Morgan's website, morganwhitejr.com.
Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
This portion of TV Confidential is brought to us by our friends at Front Porch Realty, the community of realtors in the Northern Bay Area of California that is committed to finding the solution that is best for their clients. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or looking to sell or lease your property in Northern California, call Karen Strain at 415-886-7411 or visit frontporchrealtygroup.com for more information on how they can help you.
One more item. If you're starting a company, particularly one that is in an emerging market, you know that averting any sort of legal dispute is crucial to your business plan. Our friends at Tectonic Law offer an array of services that can help you avoid and preempt future litigation while also developing and protecting your intellectual property and intangible assets. Tectonic Law serves the needs of a host of emerging industries throughout California and beyond, including industrial designers, beverage makers, artists, farmers, retail stores, health practitioners, wellness experts, cosmetics manufacturers, nonprofit organizations, innovators in sustainable practices, and libraries. Go to tectoniclaw.com to learn more about how Tectonic Law can help your business thrive. tectoniclaw.com. Rock solid representation for groundbreaking industries.
Hi, this is Stephanie Powers. You're listening to TV Confidential.
this is just a Morgan personal question.
Okay.
Now, because now Morgan and I, we met about 10 or 12 years ago through a mutual friend named Andrew Fielding.
Yes.
Who wrote a wonderful...
He's become a great friend.
Who I haven't talked to in a long time.
You want to talk to him now?
I got his number. You just remind me I haven't talked to him in a long time. But he wrote a wonderful book about his mom and her relationship to Kay Kaiser.
Lucky Strike Paper.
That's right. It's a great book. It's a great book. But Morgan and I have had many conversations about other subjects. But one of our favorite comfort food subjects is television of the 50s and 60s. So I know one of your favorites is the old Warner Brothers shows of the 50s, but if someone asked you what's your favorite type of show, I mean, do you have one, or is it any particular? The Warner Brothers, Bugs Bunny, Popeye?
You can go any company. Warner Brothers, Paramount being Popeye, or go back to Fleischer, Hanna-Barbera. And let me tell you, I had on my first guest, scheduled 1 hour with Daws Butler. He stayed for 3. And you know that doesn't happen. But he and I had such a rapport. He said, Morgan, would you like me to stay longer?
Wow.
I tell Daws Butler no. I was speaking to somebody this morning. And I said, he did the voice to Elroy Jetson. You know, it was kind of high-pitched. And Yogi Bear. Talk about a range. And he was adept at both. I got a note. I sent one of the trivia books I wrote to Jay Ward. And he sent me a note. Good work. I went to the Bullwinkle Emporium on Sunset, 81, 82, and his wife, Billy, knew my name. So he must have talked to her. This guy wrote a book on cartoons. When Bill Scott and June Foray came to Boston, on some university tour. Just like we are now, just the 3 of us had lunch. I'm with Rocky and Bullwinkle in heaven. And I can't top that.
Yeah.
So I have gotten to meet some of my animation heroes.
I never got a chance to talk to June, but I know 2 people who knew her very well, and they both tell me she was a real sweetheart.
She was. A true lady.
And a very down-to-earth, very approachable.
Yes.
She worked as often as she did, but she was very, I understand, she was just very human, very down-to-earth, very approachable.
She sent me one of her animator friends did a portrait. As many cartoon characters that could fit on an 8.5 by 11 sheet. Her face was pictured a bit off to the right, and everybody was there. Little Cindy Lou Who, Mrs. Frumpington from the Alvin Show, Rocky, Bullwinkle, not Bullwinkle, but voices she did. And I have a copy. She sent me a copy. So I framed it, it's on my wall.
Yeah. Now I know one of your favorite shows is Man from U.N.C.L.E. And I know that one of the people who met and who was either called into your show or he appeared on your show many, many times,
Yes.
was David McCallum. How did you first hook up with David McCallum?
A mutual friend put us together. I remember the first time he was on, a caller called in and talked about the meal haggis, very popular in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And he had such a good time. A couple months later, I called again because he came on the first time to promote NCIS.
Mm-hmm.
We got along like we were family. My grandmother died in 1996.
Okay.
I cried. I don't cry often. And I heard that night, a Monday night, that he had passed on. I broke down at the day.
Yeah.
I don't shed tears.
Yeah.
But I did for David McCallum. It was that special. And my audience knew how much he meant to me then.
Yeah.
Saturday, after he passed, a lot of my audience called in to offer condolences because he was that important to me. And they respected that.
Mm-hmm.
So I never got a chance to interview Robert Vaughn, but I got, and one of my early producers did this for me. He got a Robert Vaughn and a David McCallum signature on a script from the first episode, The Vulcan Show. And I've got that as a keepsake. I'm not going to activate it. The ringtone on my phone
Is the Man from Uncle thing?
not theme,
Oh.
sound effect
Oh, okay.
of the communicator. Doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo.
That's a nice tribute.
I used to have my man Flint, the phone sound effect
Mm-hmm.
to the White House. If you've done it.
Well, because of you, I had a chance to talk to David McCallum for the Perry Mason book.
I remember coordinating that for you.
Yes, you did, and he gave me a really, because you know this, when you get someone like that on your show,
Mm-hmm.
and beyond asking them about what they're there to promote, you try to get them to talk about Uncle or something they did
Remember.
before. Right. And you know this, a lot of times it's like asking them what they had for breakfast 45 years ago.
Right.
But sometimes you have a rapport with someone that they remember things.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me, he did a Perry Mason, and he didn't remember anything in particular about the show he did, but he remembered what was going on at the time that happened. And it was a very poignant time of his life, and he gave me a wonderful story about Jill Ireland, which is in the book, and which that wouldn't have happened if it were not for you.
Did he mention how Charles Bronson wound up stealing his wife?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But again, if you set, I mean, you know this talking to celebrities. If you set it up, and if you give them enough details, you're going to draw out things that are related to the time they did this show or that movie, which are even better than. I mean, as a viewer, we remember what they did on screen, but if you're able to set up the questions correctly, and I don't want to sound like I'm blowing my own horn here, but if you set the question up correctly, you're able to get some memories as a result, the things that they remember while doing that show that are even better than the movie itself, if that makes sense.
Right, it does. And as I think about it, this is an ironic coincidence. Dave McCallum did both a Perry Mason and a Matlock.
You did a Maverick?
Matlock.
Oh, a Matlock. That's right. Okay.
I don't know how many people could say that.
I would not be one of them, but I'm probably one of the few people who knows that the connection between Matlock and Perry Mason is Dean Hargrove,
Okay.
because Dean Hargrove produced both. He produced both Matlock and the Perry Mason, the NBC Perry Masons, and by design, Matlock was created as a vehicle for Andy Griffith to take the homespun character that most TV audiences knew him as,
Right.
but create a different sort of setup for him.
And that show lasted, Matlock, 8 seasons, which is longer than I thought it would.
Well, it did 8 seasons on NBC, and I think he got a couple of years on ABC. He did some occasional movies on ABC that lasted at least until 92 or 93, if I remember correctly.
They remember those shows.
You're listening to a conversation recorded a few weeks ago in Las Vegas with my friend Morgan White Jr. Morgan White Jr., longtime radio personality for WBZ AM-FM in Boston and the undisputed king of trivia. We'll play more of our conversation with Morgan White Jr. next week on TV Confidential. We mentioned earlier that Morgan White Jr. is pretty much a legend in the city of Boston. So much so that when ABC was casting Spencer for Hire in the mid-1980s, at one point Morgan was approached to play Hawk on Spencer for Hire. We'll talk about that and more during part 2 of our conversation with Morgan White Jr. next week on TV Confidential. You can listen to Morgan White Jr. every Saturday night on WBZ Radio in Boston. You can follow Morgan, morganwhitejr.com. Kathleen Bradley will join us when we come back on TV Confidential.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-222-0511. 800-222-0511. Again, that's 800-222-0511.